Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a Happy New Year 2021.
Welcome to our new channel, Quranic Exegesis, Paradigm of the Basmalah. I am Habib, the host of this channel, and with me is my father, Ya Abi. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, my son. My name is Muhammad Said Osman, and I am a university lecturer. Our intention in doing this YouTube channel is to spread the word of the Quran to as many people as possible. Please support our effort and like our videos and subscribe to this channel.
Okay, Ya Abi, let us start. Please tell us, what does the Quranic exegesis mean?
Good question, my son. Well, in simple terms, exegesis means tafsir, that is, interpretation of a holy script. The word exegesis is commonly used for the Bible, but in this case, when we say Quranic exegesis, we mean it is the interpretation of the Quran. And inshallah, in this YouTube channel, what we will try to do is make an interpretation of the whole Quran. So this is in fact an exercise in the tafsir of the Quran.
Next question, Ya Abi. How is the Quranic exegesis we do different from others?
Yes, we know that there have been many tafsir written in the past because the Quran is a book of great interest, not only to Muslims, but also to non-Muslims. So if we are to do a tafsir of the Quran, will we do it differently? Well, my answer to that is yes. Our tafsir is different because in our case, we will focus on the sacred numbers of the Quran. So that's a big difference because normally the Mufassirin will focus on the verses, the words, and the sacred letters. But in our case, we are looking at the sacred numbers and we link these numbers, of course, to the sacred verses and the sacred letters of the Quran. Now, in addition to that, let me also make it clear that the Quran is actually a celebration of Allah's most beautiful names. Maybe we don't realize that, but the Quran is full of what we call Al-Asma'ul Husna. Now, the Al-Asma'ul Husna in Arabic means the most beautiful names, those divine names of Allah. And in explaining the Quranic text, we will use these divine names starting with the first three names found in the Basmalah. Yeah, the Basmalah is the first verse of the Holy Quran, and in it we find the first three names: Allah, Ar-Rahman, and Ar-Rahim.
Since you have mentioned the Basmalah, what actually is the paradigm of the Basmalah?
I guess the term paradigm of the Basmalah seems very heavy So why don't we just break it up into two parts? So let me explain first what is paradigm, and then we can talk the second part, the basmalah. Now, paradigm is basically a pattern that you find somewhere, and this pattern repeats itself. So we say it's a paradigm. Yeah, it is a paradigm. And when we say the basmalah, we are referring to the first verse in the Holy Quran. It is the first verse in the first chapter, in the first section or juz'u of the Quran. And the basmalah, we read it, of course, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, which means, translated, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. That's just a rough translation actually. Because if we go deep into the names of Allah, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, it is not possible to translate these two divine names word for word. It's actually impossible because we won't get the full extent of the meanings of these two words, divine names Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. But anyway, the paradigm of the Basmalah means we can see in this verse of the Quran, the first verse, there is a pattern. And once we have seen this pattern, we can use that as a tool to analyze the Quran. So we extricate a certain pattern, a certain meaning to this very important verse of the Quran, and from there on we can explore the Quran using this paradigm to look at the whole structure of the Quran, inshallah. In the Basmalah, we can see there are three divine names. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim means in the name of Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. The first name is Allah. The second and third are Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Allah in the Basmalah represents Uluhiyah, whereas Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim represent Rububiyah. What is Uluhiyah? Uluhiyah is simply La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. This is the fundamental tenet of Islam. It is Tawheed. It is monotheism. In Islam, we worship only one God, and we do not ascribe to any other God but Him. If we observe the key letter in the Arabic word Allah, it is the first letter, the alif, which is also the first letter of the Arabic script. Now, alif looks like number 1. It is upright and independent. And that basically sums up what Allah is. Because we say Allah is qiyamuhu bi nafsi, which translates into English to mean he stands on his own. Qiyamuhu bi nafsi, to stand on its own, means that Allah is independent and does not depend on anything else for his existence. This is what Allah means. What about Rububiyah? Now, Rububiyah is a term from which we derive the word Rabb. And the word Rabb is very common in the Quran. In our prayers, we say, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. And of course, this is also a word from which we derive the term tarbiyah. Tarbiyah means like nurturing. For example, how parents nurture their children. So we have the sense here, Rububiyah is something that's related to a very loving, compassionate, merciful relationship that Allah has with His creations. Now, this concept of Rububiyah is also related to the central anchor word Rahmah. And the Arabic word Rahmah can be translated into English as mercy. And from this word Rahmah, we get the two words Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Why two words to explain Rububiyah? When for Uluhiyah earlier we used only one word, Allah. Well, the reason for that is that one word is not enough to describe Allah's mercy. There's so much mercy that Allah has for His creation that two words are used. And of course, these two words are in the Basmalah, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, they are the second and third divine names of Allah. If we put them together, they become 2, 3. So we can say 2, 3, or we can say 23. And this is a number that represents Allah's mercy. The number 23 is present in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and in the Quran. Let us now look at the number 23, which represents the mercy of God, as in Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, the Rububiyah. We look at the concept of Rububiyah in the presence and life of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Firstly, we know that our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam started the message of Islam at the age of 40 and successfully completed this mission at the age of 63. Well, that means that it took him 23 years to complete his mission to establish Islam. And this 23 years is also the same period when he received revelation of the Quran. There is a verse in the Quran in Surah Al-Insan when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna nahnu nazzalna alayka al-Qur'ana tanzila. We have sent down to you the Quran in stages. Now, it is interesting to note that the verse number here is 23 because this was an early revelation in Mecca. Nobody would have guessed that the total number of years for the revelation to be completed will be 23 years. So this is like a hint that revelation and the successful completion of Islam will be 23 years. 23 years is not a coincidence, by the way, because we understand that everything that Allah has done is for a purpose. Nothing is done in vain. So we relate these 23 years to the second and third name of Allah in the Basmalah, which is Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. It is Rububiyah. It is the mercy of Allah. Let us now consider the Quran. The total number of verses in the Quran is 6,236 verses. If we scrutinize and observe this number, it is very interesting because the two middle digits are 23, while 6 at the beginning and at the end represent the product of 2 times 3. We must also remember that the Prophet Muhammad is said to be the living Quran or the walking Quran. We cannot separate the blessed Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the Quran. They are twins represented by the number 23 because 23 represents the second and third divine names of Allah, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Another aspect of the number 23 is with regards to the hijrah or migration of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Mecca to Medina. Our Islamic calendar starts with this very important event, the migration or the hijrah. Based on what the historians have told us, he migrated in the 13th year of his mission, and that will be in the Western calendar the year 622 AD. But the full first year of Hijrah will be from 622 to 623 AD. And these two numbers, 622 and 623, they are very interesting numbers. I will tell you later about the number 22, but we can see that the first year of the Hijrah coincided with 623 AD. Let's consider this. 623 AD of the Hijrah and 6,236 of the total number of the Quranic verses. Both these numbers indicate mercy because we can see in both of them the second and third numbers, number 2, number 3, and 6 as a product of 2 and 3. All this goes back to the paradigm of the Basmalah, which we find in the Quran, specifically in the Basmalah. 2 represents Ar-Rahman, and 3 represents Ar-Rahim. Let us now go back to the Basmalah and look at the paradigm as represented by the 3 divine names Allah, Ar-Rahman, and Ar-Rahim. Allah is the first, Ar-Rahman is the second, and Ar-Rahim is the third. So we have a paradigm of 1, 2, 3. Now 1 is Uluhiyah and 2, 3 is Rububiyah. What does that mean? Well, 1, Uluhiyah, actually is La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. As for 2, 3, Rububiyah, it is Muhammadur Rasulullah, the mercy for all creations. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have not sent you, O Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but as mercy to the whole creations. So the Basmalah, in its simplicity, has the message of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Shukran ya Abi. That was very interesting. What will we do in our next presentation?
In our next presentation, we will discuss about the meaning of 19 in the Basmalah. Inshallah, we will do that.
Thank you for watching our video. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like our videos and please subscribe to the channel. Bye bye.